You are now rocking with the United States private enterprise free state where we give the truth. Why is authentication and notarization key to the process? Why is authentication and notarization key to the process? Can you please raise your hand if you know? Well, you can look up notarization, you can look up authentication, authenticate, you can look all of that up. But the bottom line is the real truth, in fact, is no one can notarize and authenticate the BC. Not even the doctor who signed the BC, the registrar who signed off on the BC, nor the people at the Board of Health. No one can notarize and authenticate for you. Your own mother did not notarize and authenticate the birth certificate. She never owned you. There are some people who, yes, they know about the process. The hospital will give you 30 to 45 days once the baby and the patient is released for you to notarize, to get that birth certificate notarized and authenticated on your own and send it back in a certain way. Mother never did that, so she was incompetent off the jump because she didn't know. That's the first breach in the contract. They breached it through your own mother. Now, there are several other breaches that you can prove, and it's all based off of the Baby Act. So when you can understand what the Baby Act is, and then notarization and authentication, then you're going to understand that they have no case off of you. Everything has been done in concealment, and which concealment is also fraud. So if everything is based off of one document that nobody can notarize or authenticate because it has your name on it, and you were the person that was born, that had no say so in the contract. So if you had no say so in the contract and now you wake up and you was never lost at sea, because lost at sea was when you were in your mother's stomach, you are on land right now. The 1066 Sestaque v. Trust, you go back to that. You come back, now you're on land, you're filing your documents. There are certain codes and things that you have to look up, that you have to show proof, because you not want to walk into anybody's courtroom with what you have through notarization and authentication, because nobody can notarize and authenticate you. Nobody. So everything that has been done is all in fraud, concealment. So when you understand the fraud, and it's based off of the birth certificate, and everybody that has a birth certificate in these 50 states, you are an owner of that state. Go look it up. Who is the owner? Who owns California state? It's going to everything comes back to we, the people. The true owners are the ones that notarize and authenticate all documents. That is why to put it, to include it and attach it to your case court paperwork, that is why you have to notarize and authenticate, and they will accept it because now they know that that is the true person, entity coming in to make the claim. Nobody can make the claim for you. It's only a true entity that comes in with notarization and authentication. Without it, you automatically will lose a case. The case half the time won't even be seen. Okay? So basically, any document that you have, it is best that you understand what is state and what is on a federal document. What is a state document? What is a federal document? When you understand what a state document is and a federal document is, then that is the path you take on your authentication and notarization. Some people that have been in the armed services, they're already federally authenticated. Now, documents is a different hand, but you have to do it and find out for yourself. So, if you understand that when the true owner steps up from the authorization, because they have full authorization, they have full ownership, and the owner controls everything. The living trust controls everything. The trustor created the living trust, which is the trustee and the beneficiary, all three roles, because it's a living trust that you use for your entire life. So, all the assets you're going to dump into your trust, you dump into your trust, which gives it the value. Your funding, your trust. And a trust can be funded any way that you see fit. It's not what these stupid ass gurus is going around telling people. You fund your trust with the assets that you have, property that you have, real estate that you have, authentication and notarization. So when you tune into notarization and authentication and all your documents are done like that, then you're one step closer on the road to the treasury. You like steps and steps closer because for them to go into the treasury is fraud on their part. But you signed off on contracts that you were unaware, which is concealment. Okay, why do they file bankruptcy? They file bankruptcy because now they don't want to pay the true creditor back. The bank cannot lend you anything, okay, unless you are your own bank. Okay, these banks today, everything is securitized. The contract that you put your signature on, which is your sign of nature, on their contract, which is a unilateral contract, which is one sided, nobody has told anybody the truth based upon the reality of the system that we have been renaturalized in. Because your natural birthright, which is your bloodline, which is your surname, so the name that you were already born with, that is the family lineage. Okay, you want to say that you are more, then that's a whole nother naturalization and it's another lineage, and that's based upon Muslims. Greeks turned to Muslims. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that even with that documents, if you're trying to go foreign, you're still going to have to be able to sign off, and you have to have a birth certificate that proves that you were born in the foreign country that you're trying to say that you are foreign in. So if you was born here in the United States, but you want to all of a sudden renaturalize yourself as being a Moor, now you have to show a birth certificate from the consular that you were born in Morocco, somewhere in Morocco, to be considered a Moor. And you would still need notarization and authentication. So without it, you have no case. And that's the bottom line. So only the real, live, living man or woman can get a document notarized and authenticated. Now, if someone else is notarizing and authenticating for you, that is because you have given up your power of attorney. And if you give up power of attorney, you have been screwed for the rest of your life when you give up power of attorney, because now the one that has the power of attorney can walk into any courthouse, notarize and authenticate on your behalf without you knowing anything. So if they're doing that and you find out, and it's already been found out, because of the fraudulent contracts that the banks sign off when you sign up for a bank and you become a depositor in the bank, they just jacked you. You just gave them power of attorney to walk into the fucking Federal Reserve and into the Treasury and give up all your funds to the the insider, the bank, the insider. So Security Administration, which is a bank, which is a fund, they're all insiders. You have a case against everybody. All entities, all foreign entities, you have a case against all these corporations because they're foreign corporations that have stolen all your interests. Birth certificates have interests on it from when you were a baby to up to the age of 18. So, all that interest, if you didn't get it, it's still there because it was reinvested into what you see outside buildings, structures, businesses, yada. You are the owner in your state. You own everything in it along with the other people that have birth certificates. That is why they have to divide and conquer. It doesn't matter what color, what nationality you are. If you have a birth certificate in one of these 50 states, all the people that have birth certificates in these 50 states need to come together and start to take back the ownership of the state, the land, and the soil, because you all have a stake in it. We all have property in it. We all have a part of this soil. Now, if you understand that, you're going to have to find some way to start to link up with the people that know this shit. Basically, your own land, whatever it is, put it in your jurisdiction. You don't want them having no parts of what you do. You do not want an LLC. And if you are going to have a corporation, you don't want it incorporated. You're unincorporated because you want to keep it private. You always want to be in the private because once you step out of your jurisdiction, you become public. When you leave your house, you become public. When you get into your car and you drive, you're public. So it's good to have the right documentation for the jurisdictions that you know that you will be traveling in. You want to keep your ass out of jail, get all your documentations in order so that you want to be in and out. You don't want no hassles, no time wasted, because you really don't want to be up in nothing that they doing. They're fighting over a house. Servants, any house that you're fighting over, that's a house of servants. They have to serve the public. They're employees to the owners of that state. So when you know your position on the board, you have to have a king and a queen to play the game. Court and state, a king and a queen to play the game. Chess all the way across the board, my people. You better wake up, because if you don't have those playing pieces, if the king and the queen don't have the authentification, the notarizations, the documents, they can't go on the other side of the board and do business with the other king or queen. It's not about conquering, it's about getting to the other side, getting the meeting with the other king and queen of their territory, and everybody comes to a mutual agreement. And that's what a lot of other people have already done, but they got new jacks coming up in the business that don't know this shit, so they get caught out there with a runaround with this misinformation. That's why you got to get over here with the United States Private Enterprise Free State. You want the correct info. You want to know how to set up your king and queen. 407 300 5377. We can get that set up for you with no problem. Okay, if you don't want to do the paperwork, we can do that for you. But best believe you will not be in nobody's fucking clutches or cuffs, because it's authentication and notarization that you must always have on the record. Now, you got questions, you need consultation, 407 300 5377. We can give you that consultation. Consultation, $75 for 1 hour, straight up. Because time and energy, too many credentials, you know what I'm saying? It's all about court, state, judge, governor. Okay? You got to be governor over your state, you got to be judge over your court. Straight up. If you ain't got that in proper order, there's no king and a queen on the board that can go and do business and walk out. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think that back in the days, George Washington and all them people, John Adams and all of them, was writing letters back and forth? The same thing that we're doing right now, writing letters back and forth, trying for freedom. Freedom to drive, freedom to live, freedom to walk, freedom to buy, freedom to act in commerce. Because commerce is highly regulated. You know what I'm saying? So we writing the same letters that they writing. Okay? We are just nothing but reincarnations of the same people fighting for the same thing until we get remedy. So the only way to fight this is king, queen. Remedy comes through your documents. And all documents must be notarized and authenticated. That's the only way you're going to win. That's the only way through the system. Because they want to know, are you the real one that we have been an employee to, because we had to administer your files, your disbursements. You see, they are the ones that disperse. They're sitting over your money. They transfer anything they need, your notarization, your signature, your autograph on their document, that they can go into the Federal Reserve, and then from the Federal Reserve goes into the Treasury to pull the money out. So the Federal Reserve is getting a cut, the Treasury is getting a cut, and then you got the bank who gets a cut. So that's 3 entities that get a cut of your money out of the Treasury, because no one has never taught you how to go into the Treasury and pull out the funds. So We teach that here also on how to pull out the funds from the Treasury because you must bypass the Federal Reserve because the Federal Reserve is for the Federal Reserve. That is a foreign organization that was set up here in the United States that is partnered with the IRS, that is partnered with the Treasury. Okay. They change names when they change office to take the money. The office of the presidency is not a high paying job. You see, Trump is changing. He just changed up the name of the US. They call it something else now because they funnel the money into their account because they're only making money off your interests. So, how are they paying Trump? Because Trump was born in New York. He has a trust fund. He's just like the rest of us. He's a beneficiary in a trust. So Trump is getting paid from his own birth certificate. And I'm pretty sure he has a social. You know what I'm saying? Because Trump has a UCC. Go read Trump's UCC. It's in California. And Trump got UCCs right here in New York that you can pull up and read them. You know, game is right there on his UCC on how Trump was was once one of the richest. You know what I'm saying? But now you got Elon Musk. So Elon Musk filed the same paperwork that we filing. You see what I'm saying? But he got investors, or he went through the Treasury because he studied the process. Because if you study Elon Musk was living in a car before he even got where he is today. So Elon Musk was studying something, you know, to get to where he got to today, or he could be a fucking clone, and that's game over. Because if it's a clone, then it's somebody else that creates the clone. We can go there too. But for now, you know, nobody can speak for you. Nobody can stand up and speak for nothing about you but you. That's why you have to restate the record. A lot of gurus don't tell you to restate the record because you never put nothing on the record ever unless you started learning about this process. And if you once you start learning about this process, then you know that everything must be documented. Everything that you do with this process has to be documented because that is the only thing they respect is law. And when you come at them lawfully with constitution, treaties, all types of shit, them niggas have to back down, leave you alone because you are reading. Reading is fundamental. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't heard, reading is fundamental. So those who read, they will fund the mental. Reading is fundamental. So what is a fund? You can look that up. What is mental? You can look that up. But reading is fundamental. So when you fund your mental, now your mental is thinking of higher ways and levels to create wealth and prosperity. And to create wealth and prosperity is come out of her, which means you come into your own jurisdiction. Know who you are, know how to stand, and we teach you all that right here. If you don't have the basic foundation down, we can give that to you in a 2-hour class. Basic foundation in 2 hours, you have it in, out. Now you know how to go about your business and you don't have to be misled and steered in wrong directions by gurus that are agents on the internet to get you steered in the wrong direction to waste a bunch of money. You know, You got to really watch out. So it's really nothing else to say but that if you need consultation, then you got to call 407 300 5377 and we can get the paperwork right and tight. Paperwork. Paperwork is everything, my people. Paperwork is everything. The reason I say this is because when your paperwork is right, you're going to see some strange things. Some things you're going to be like, yay. Some things you're going to be like, nay, like when niggas try to run you off the road, stupid shit like that. Because you filed the right paperwork. Because how do cowboys, they may not do it to you right in the open, but they wait till your ass go to sleep. They can fuck with your property. That is damages. You see what I'm saying? That's dirty, but that's what you're dealing with in this industry. The industry of commerce is a game of war. No, it can be a peaceful war or it can be a war of havoc. It's how you want to choose to fight. The peaceful way to fight is through paperwork. Now, there are other tactics causing havoc and chaos is war. And there are so many ways of war. So you have to pick and choose within your paperwork how you want to do it. So I say the best way is peace. Your paperwork, is always goes before you. It's always sent out before anything. That's why you should never be in anyone's courtroom talking shit because that's when you're going to get destroyed. Is when you walk in on their turf. The rules completely change when they have you in their jurisdiction. That's why you have to always be in your jurisdiction, and your jurisdiction is always on paper by way of mail. You never step into anyone's jurisdiction because, you know, they can do anything they want. And especially if you don't have your four pillars up, you are mincemeat to them niggas. Just like you walking into a den of vampires, straight up. You are walking into a den of vampires when you walk into their court. You can walk in there talking all of this constitution this and constitution that, but what type of court are you in to even bring up the Constitution? Because you have to know the courtrooms that you're walking in. You have to bring in their state constitutions and their state court constitution laws, rules, and regulations on them and their courtroom. If you go into their courtroom with something that's not of the jurisdiction and you don't know how to fight, then you're mincemeat. So, my people, 407 300 5377, get at me. We got that remedy. That is how it is. And so be it. This is the United States Private Enterprise Free State with a public announcement.